Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday podcast. I'm Hector Mirai with Faith and Fandom, and we're going to go over the news for the last week. Um, First off, I apologize for the video quality. Um, my camera is being duty, and so I'm on my backup camera. Um, so either way. But I'm gonna jump on here and do some news so I can go do my muggle job, and then I'm gonna go camping um for a night and just enjoy my day. So let's jump on it. Go to this album. All the heavy professional newsing I do for y'all. Um, so starting off, and if you didn't see this past week, not that it was gonna dramatically um affect you, but there was a situation with Marvin Sapp, who is a minister and gospel artist and all these things, um, who was arrested potentially on the charge of 1,500 counts of kidnapping, um, because Tristan, hey, y'all got power. Congratulations. Um, he was doing a service and said they needed $40,000, which meant if everybody in the room gave 20 bucks, they would get $40,000, which is a lot of people and a lot of money, I think was what they were shooting at. But he said, we're not leaving until we do. And he told the ushers to shut the doors and lock the doors, effectively like barring people from leaving until they got their $40,000. And that doesn't go well. Yeah, it's just a bad move. Um, So that happened. He's since been released and everything, and I'm sure they're gonna work it out, and he'll end up not being charged with 1,500 counts of kidnapping. But definitely not the wisest route to go in life in your pursuit of things. I don't even like passing a bucket, let alone like asking for like 40 grand. Um, so yeah, that's a crazy route to go. Again, I get it. And after reading John Acuff's books for so long, um, I know that his father actually ended up doing something like that. Good morning, Miss Lynn. And Tristan says, yeah, that's not how the gospel works. But yeah, absolutely not how the gospel works. But so hopefully it'll work out and I mean, he's gonna face consequences, but it's not the worst, hopefully. Um, and a bit of artistic and local news that's cool in the world of wrestling and photography. A local photographer and cosplayer from our area who is like an award-winning photographer, Caitlin Register, was invited to Matt Hardy's house to do photo shoots with Matt and Reba Hardy. Um, which will be seen nationally and internationally. So that's a great opportunity for her. Um, and I'm excited for her to do that. Uh, Elon Musk's AI company uh, bought Twitter for a $45 billion deal. Um, yeah, they are separately owned, but that's just odd and definitely not a divisive political move in any way. Uh, According to uh, Collider.com and further stories that they've got linked up, there's a live action Legend of Zelda movie which will be released on March 26th, 2027. Not holding my breath. I don't know that that's 100% confirmed, but that is a thing. Also, Jay and Silent Bob will be making it into the world of Call of Duty. Um, as playable characters. Yeah, because I've not ever. I haven't. I don't play the multiplayer Call of Duty in the first place. But I've never thought, you know what would make this better if it was Kevin Smith. Um, that's happening. It's cool. The wrestler Ricochet and former WWE ring announcer Samantha Irvin got married over the last week. They've been engaged forever and have a couple kids, and now they're married. Alyssa, or yeah, Alyssa Liu became the first American woman to win a figure skating world championship in 19 years. Um, yeah, she took down the three-time defending champion Sakamoto of Japan. That's neat. If you are a child of the 80s or 90s or just culture, there was a TV show called A Different World. And with Dwayne Wade, he had cool flip glasses and everything. Uh, A Different World has been greenlit for a pilot sequel series following up with the cast of A Different World all these years later. Um, it was a 1987 sitcom originally, and it made its kind of footing in syndication and reruns, but A Different World is up for a potential sequel. Stephen Yeun, who plays Glenn in The Walking Dead, he also voices Invincible in the animated series, has joined the cast of the live action. Sorry, has joined the cast of the last Airbender animated movie, not the live action movie. Let me correct that. He's joined the cast of the Airbender animated movie. Um, the box office this weekend was an interesting one, with how everything played out. Jason Statham's, and I'm not going to say they're not good, but Jason Statham's like cut and paste action movie, the was it The Workman? A Working Man. Jason Statham's action movie, A Working Man, came in at the top of the box office with $15 million, which is a small box office for the beat number one. Snow White came in 14.2 million. But what makes it interesting is that The Chosen came in number three at the box office. The Chosen was right behind Snow White, and that's just releasing a couple episodes that are leading into the season five, I believe. That's following up to the Passover and everything else. The Passover celebration in Jerusalem, flipping tables and such. But the Chosen made it into the top three of the box office. So congratulations, Jesus, and everybody that likes The Chosen, because you did something. You did something very few get to do. Newsmax, which is labeled as a conservative media outlet. I don't tend to like to just label stuff based on those terms. But Newsmax went public on Monday, and its shares went really high, and it was purchased, or no, it went high and it grew to be 700% in its stock, making it more than $10 billion, which is more than what Candy Crush sold for. Sony announced this week at CinemaCon that Beyond the Spider-Verse will release on June 4th, 2027. So, two full more years before we get the final chapter in the Spider-Verse trilogy. And on that same note, before we get that, we will get the fourth live action Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day, will exclusively release on July 30th, 2026, which is neat. This past week, Auburn, uh, the basketball coach, made some interviews and some statements that one of the reasons that their team is winning and how they're functioning is because they are a team that relies heavily on faith. That they have a weekly, or they have a regular team meeting and in the mornings with breakfast, and it's a devotion time, and the players say that they're growing together as a team, but also spiritually, and they're excited about that. If you are a player of Clash of Clans, the WWE will be taking over Clash of Clans or becoming part of the game with characters like Cody Rhodes becoming the Barbarian King, Rhea Ripley as the Archer Queen, The Undertaker as Grand Warden, Bianca Belair as the Royal Champion, Rey Mysterio as the Minion Prince. Good morning, Jeff. Um, Becky Lynch as Valkyrie, Jey Uso as the Thrower, and Kane as Pekka. I don't play Clash of Clans, but if you're that's your jam, um, it's going to be infiltrated by wrestlers. The restaurant chain Hooters filed for bankruptcy on Monday, um, trying to clear out the $376 million in debt that they are currently in. And they're planning to sell all of its company-owned restaurants to a franchise group backed by the company's founders. So they're filing for bankruptcy, and they might either stay what they are but be under different ownership or become something else entirely. The stranded astronaut Butch Wilmore, who was, stuck in space for 9 months longer than he was supposed to have been, uh, went and did several interviews this week. But with Relevant Magazine, he told them that the entire time he was up there in space, he never missed a Sunday tuning into the broadcast of his church's Sunday morning service, which is crazy dedication. Um, And sad news this week, we lost Val Kilmer, who had been kind of quietly battling throat cancer for a while, and iconic actor to many people. He was, uh, you know, from Tombstone or Top Gun. He was Batman and lots of other things. But he passed away this week at the age of 65. Uh, Kyle Kelsey and his wife welcomed in their new daughter, Finley Anna Kelsey. And Kyle Kelsey announced this with a tweet that says, "Whoop, there she is." John Wick 5 is officially set to come back with Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski. So there's officially not only two John Woo spin-off movies, like the ballerina. There's also been a Continental show and all this other stuff. But John Wick will be back for Chapter 5. Um, there has been deep studies into the neuroscience of prayer and like if praying actually does work outside of the spiritual realm. Praying does actually affect you physically and mentally. Um, it's one of the things that this a recent study pointed out is that prayer, if you pray regularly, um, it will show an increase in the activity in your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that helps you stay focused and make thoughtful decisions, and the anterior cingulate cortex, the region associated with empathy and compassion. Um, so if you actually pray on a regular basis, you'll be able to focus more, you'll be able to be more patient, and you'll actually have a more compassionate heart. And while that does show up on brain scans, it also probably shows up in your spirit and your soul. So prayer not only is effective communication with God, it actually helps you function better as a person, um, with the rest of the world. Um, Star Wars announced that there will be a new animated series dropping on May the 4th called Tales of the Underworld, and it will focus on Asajj Ventress, Cad Bane, and other villains of the Star Wars underworld. Really excited about that. That should be fun. Uh, the Nintendo Switch was officially announced this week. Nintendo Switch 2 was officially announced this week. Pre-orders will be available on April 9th, with the system dropping on June 5th of 2025. And I'm really sad that I will not be in town to get my Nintendo Switch. I'm gonna be sad about that. But I'll be in North Dakota that day, or coming back from North Dakota. But either way, it'll be here when I get here. Um, But the Nintendo Switch 2 is dropping. Lots of titles were announced. A 3D platformer for Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Bonanza, which will drop July 17th. Game will launch with Mario Kart World. Uh, Metroid Prime 4 was shown. And they're talking about also expanding things on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So your games will transport over. Your stuff will get upgraded. It'll be great. But the Nintendo Switch 2 does officially drop June 5th, and pre-orders are April 9th. So that will be important if you actually want to get one in the first year that they're available. Also announced is Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which will serve as a lead up to Tears of the Kingdom. So, Age of Imprisonment will be official story that goes from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. And personally, the last Hyrule Warriors game had a really great story that I genuinely loved, and so I would recommend it. Um, NBA star Anthony Edwards made a kind of historic move this past week. And I'm not here to poo-poo on anybody's relationship dramas or anything like that because relationships are hard. Um, but he pulled this move, which is cold, but also, people be peopling. Anthony Edwards made a historic move by paying $1,080,000 in child support all at once, covering the full 18 years of his child's life, um, to his child's mother. That's $5,000 a month, and he said he wanted to settle it all up front. Um, and made this statement: "Don't ask me for a thing for the next 18 years." Yikes. Um, that's kind of bonkers. Mick Foley, wrestler, author, stand-up comedian, and all around one of my favorite people, was in a pretty tremendous car accident leaving GalaxyCon Richmond, which I was at this week. Um, Mick got into a absolute nightmare looking accident if you want to check out the photos of the accident, but managed to walk away with only soft tissue damage. He is in the hospital getting checked out today, but he has said that he's good. He knows that somebody was watching out for him to be able to emerge from this accident with nothing but soft tissue damage. And that he plans to make all of his tour dates. He is currently on a stand-up comedy slash storytelling tour that is going around the country. If you're local to North Carolina, he'll be in Charlotte on July 22nd at the Comedy Zone. This week, Marvel unveiled their new Venom in comics. It's been teased for the last almost 6 months that there's a new Venom out there. And the identity of the host has been a mystery. It was revealed this week that the host for the new Venom is none other than Mary Jane Watson. Um, so that'll be fun. Also, if you've missed it, Eddie Brock is now Carnage. Um, so it's a whole thing. Lego is releasing a series of Twilight uh Legos. Yes, the movie Twilight with the vampires and the werewolves. And they showed off this week that the Edward Cullen Lego figure will actually sparkle. So that's a thing. The Devil May Cry anime series is out on Netflix now. All 8 episodes of the first season have dropped. Um, and Netflix has been kind of killing it with anime in the last few years. I've not ever played the Devil May Cry video games. So I don't know a single thing about them other than a red trench coat, guns, and a sword. But it's out there, and it features a performance from Kevin Conroy, the late Batman actor. John Oliver, the comedian and late night host, is being sued by a healthcare worker, Brian Morley, whom he called out in a episode of Last Week Tonight last year. A comedic actor from the Righteous Gemstones and the Pitch Perfect series, Adam Devine, was told that he was in the process of dying. I missed Mary Jane as Venom. I mean, I said that. Yeah, Mary Jane is Venom. Yeah. Um, right? I just said that. That was the whole thing. Um, but yeah, Mary Jane is Venom. Um, but doctors told Adam Devine that he is dying because of damage that he received by being run over from a cement truck when he was a child. If you've seen any of his interviews or podcasts recently with folks like Theo Vaughn, his legs are deteriorating. They're covered in scar tissue, and he is in chronic pain. Um, he still does comedic acting and everything else, but he's struggling as a person and could probably use some encouragement and prayer. Um, it's been announced that there's going to be a Martin Scorsese crime drama set in Hawaii starring Emily Blunt, The Rock, and a few others. I can't remember the others. But The Rock is now writing a true crime book connected to his role in this movie. So The Rock will be writing a true crime novel. Um, One thing that happened over the past weekend that caught a lot of buzz was in the SNL performance for the week. Uh, Country singer Morgan Wallen straight up just walked away as soon as the show was officially ending. Normally, the cast stands around and they greet each other. They film them chit-chatting and all this stuff on the way out. Morgan Wallen literally walked in front of the camera and walked out, and then later tweeted, "Get me to God's country," as he was getting on a plane. Now he's 100% capitalizing on that and releasing a line of "Get me to God's country" merch. Um, which has left some SNL folks upset and confused. Has been kind of the talk on the late night circuit. But yeah, he did a thing. Uh, Roger Daltrey, one of the members of the Who singer, uh, made an announcement this week that he is in the process of going deaf and blind. And he did not miss the irony and made jokes about the fact that they made their name for themselves singing about Tommy, a deaf, dumb, and blind boy. And now he is becoming deaf and blind himself. But he says it's just part of the joys of getting old. Kieran Culkin, recent Academy Award winner, Golden Globe winner, and all the other award winners from the TV show Succession and the movie A Real Pain. Also, he's the kid who drank the Pepsi in Home Alone. Um, Kieran Culkin is now starring on Broadway with Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul star, and the Broadway revival of Glengarry Ross. I would personally love to watch Bob Odenkirk and Kieran Culkin uh, do that. That would be wonderful. Dave Coulier, the Uncle Joey from Full House, has announced that he is cancer free after 5 months from his previous diagnosis, as he was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, but he is now cancer free. Much of the Full House cast took to social media to celebrate that as well. The recent pseudo success of the Looney Tunes movie, The Day the World Blew Up, has sparked the company that owns that franchise, the Ketchup Company, um, to purchase and finally convince Warner Brothers to release the animated slash live action film, The People versus Wile E. Coyote, um, which is starring Will Forte and John Cena along with Wile E. Coyote. And I'm honestly looking forward to this. I've honestly been sad that this thing wasn't coming out, and now it looks like it will, which is great. How to Train a Dragon 2, the second live action movie, has already been greenlit, even though the first one hasn't come out. So part two is coming. There's also a prequel series to the TV show Killing Eve, if you are a fan or aware of that. Um, Pharrell was recently on a podcast, I think it was The Drink Club, something of that nature, where he kind of went off on his own mini sermon of saying that no man can get in the way of what God has for you, and just talking about the goodness of God in those places in a very not air quotes holy environment, he was really taking time to be share testimony. ABC has renewed 911, Grey's Anatomy, The Rookie, Will Trent, and Shifting Gears, as well as High Potential, Abbott Elementary, are all coming back. The only show in their current rotation, which is not confirmed for uh, renewal, is the show Doctor Odyssey. Downton Abbey has announced that it is going to be dropping a final film. Um, with the announcement that it's time to say goodbye. But it's called Downton Abbey, the grand finale. Um, and I will watch that and weep. Um, Drake has made some progress in his lawsuit against UMG, his record company. Um, After, with his defamation suit, a judge granted the fact that Drake has full access or can have full access to not only his contract and paperwork with UMG, but now can have full access to Kendrick Lamar's contract, and so that's going to really go in his favor if they've already granted him that. Because of the poor response, uh, because of the poor response and everything surrounding the Snow White movie, they've officially shelved the possibility of doing a live action Tangled. Live action Tangled was going to be the next thing that they were going to work on. And now because of Snow White's performance and situation in the box office, they are going to kill that. And it might be shelved forever, which I don't know if that's a bad thing. I personally think Tangled is perfect, and I don't know that I would want to see. I kind of would want to see a live action, but I don't know that I need a live action. I'm very happy with it. Um, yes, that's where that's a thing. Um, it, in another turn of events, it was just a week or two ago we were reporting on the fact that there was a runner that hit another player with a baton and fractured her skull. This week, a young man stabbed another runner in the heart, killing him, which was is absolutely tragic. The father of the young man who was stabbed uh, took to social media um, to say this. He says, "This tragedy has shaken me, family, and friends to the core. I trust God will I trust God will bring us through the tough times ahead. I appreciate everyone that has reached out. He passed away in his brother's arms. He wasn't alone, at least. I can't describe the range of emotions I am feeling right now. I pray God will guide our path forward." But before all that, he made the statement that he is choosing to forgive his son's killer. Um, and that he wanted his son's killer to know that he is forgiven, which is a bold, gutsy thing to do from that place. Lynn says she loves Disney, but she questions a lot of their decisions lately. Yeah. Um, that being said, I don't need most of the live action remakes. Listen, the only live action remake I've watched is Aladdin. I don't know if I'm going to watch any of the others. I don't need them either. Um, and I only watched Aladdin because Aladdin was my favorite next to a Goofy movie growing up. So just, yeah, didn't need it. Um, Game of Thrones and Hunger Games star Natalie Dormer is starring in a Christian biopic called Audrey's Children, which is about a pediatric oncologist whose work saved generations of children, whose vision birthed the global network of the Ronald McDonald House Charities. So Audrey's Children will be coming to theaters soon. Netflix has dropped a new TV series called Revelation, which turn like puts a focus on corruption and misguided church corruption and misguided faith. Um, and it asks the questions of what happens when faith turns into fanaticism and where morality fits into everything else. And it's done by the director who did Train to Busan and Hellbound. in collaboration with Alfonso Cuarón, who did Gravity and Roma. The film, yeah, it's kind of been a hot topic for religious and not religious folk. Another study just since last week um, stated that fasting from social media can help your brain grow and again help you be more emotionally stable. The Newsboys have announced that moving forward, they will go forward as a quartet with the remaining people that were left before Michael Tate left the band. Jeff Frankenstein, Jody Davis, and Duncan Phillips, who, by the way, have all been around since I was in the middle school, um, are moving forward with Adam Agee as the new vocalist. There were almost 1,000. There were at least 144 people killed and 1,000 people injured in an earthquake in Myanmar. Um, Hold on, let me double check that. The death toll jumped over 1,000 and went from initially reporting 144 dead to over 1,000 dead in the earthquake in Myanmar. I don't know if you know that this is an option, and I'm not going to say the word because it's listening. But your Amazon device, you have the ability to say tip or thank my driver, which is a program that launched in 2022. And every time you get a package, if you say insert name, thank my driver, it will tip your driver $5. That's a thing. It's not a bad thing. It probably could be a big blessing. The Anthony Graylin from Charlotte, North Carolina, was one of the top five most thanked drivers in Amazon's entire company. Um, and Graylin received over $10,000 in tips from Amazon, but he chose to donate all $10,000 of his tips to the Atrium Health Levine Children's Hospital, which is a children's hospital that's here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So he took all $10,000 of his tips and donated them. So I would like to thank that driver. Um, yeah, let's skip that one. Skip that one. We don't need it. I'm gonna go with this one. Um, in Rostock, northeastern Germany, a full police investigation launched with a contingent of police officers, including homicide, forensic, and pathologists, were dispatched to a crime scene with drones and a specialist 3D scanner to investigate a body that was found. But the funeral guy, the morgue people, when they showed up to get the body, they sent everybody home because the body they found was a life-size, very realistic adult doll. They spent like six figures of police resources in Germany because of this body they found, and it was an adult doll. Hmm. Uh, that makes me giggle. Um, if you are aware, I'm gonna skip that one too. We don't need that one. News is so sad. I save all these stories all week, and then I'm like, I don't even want to talk about this. Um, I won't talk about that one either. It's bad stuff. Mark Zuckerberg officially is now richer than Jeff Bezos, according to the World Billionaire list. And one thing that took place this week, Senator Cory Booker filibustered on the House floor and filibustered, meaning he started talking and would not stop talking or yield his time, and so that Senate could not move forward or the House could not move forward with what they were doing. He did this in protest of President Trump and a lot of policies that were going forward, and it's a legal thing to do. It's happened in the past. It's also been made famous by the episode of Parks and Recreation where Patton Oswalt actually pre spoke the beginning of Boba Fett, like, and is the reason Boba Fett starts the way it does. Um, but Cory Booker set a new record for filibuster length. The previous filibuster was held by Strom Thurmond. Now Cory Booker has it for 25 hours and I believe 5 minutes of nonstop talking. Um, yeah, totally did that. ISIS uh, attacked a Christian festival um, in let's see, I'm gonna pull up the official details with it. In Iraq, there was a Christian festival happening in Iraq. Just pause and appreciate that statement. There's a Christian festival happening in Iraq where Syrian Christians were celebrating their new year, which officially begins on April 1st. And thousands of Christians showed up in Iraq to march through the Dohuk in northern Iraq. ISIS showed up, just a couple ISIS people showed up um, and began stabbing people, and one of them had an axe and was wielding that, but they were subdued and captured. But it's pretty horrible. Um, yeah. A grandmother named Hashia in Taiwan uh, was horribly swallowed whole by a python um, while walking home from her job at the rubber plantation. I'm sorry, in Indonesia, not Taiwan. Um, but they went looking for her and found uh, a python that had swallowed her whole. And while they were able to remove her, it was too late. But it's not the way you want to go or be found. In New York City, um, jaywalking fines will officially be done away with as of April 17th. So while it is illegal to jaywalk, you can no longer be fined in the city of New York for jaywalking, which means traffic's just going to get bonkers, even more so. You can be sued civilly if you cause damage through your jaywalking, um, but jaywalking will no longer be fined in New York City. Um, Several members of the National Security Council were fired after the leaked text in the group chat, as they should have been. Um, American Idol is airing a special Songs of Faith episode with guests like Brandon Lake, Jelly Roll, CC Winans, probably Carrie Underwood, and more. It will be a 3 hour primetime event showcasing worship music, gospel music on ABC on Easter night. So on Easter night, American Idol and ABC is going to have a 3 hour worship conference. That's the thing. While the possibility of Outcast coming back is still real slim, the next best thing might be happening. Big Boy, who recently won several Grammys and Rap Album of the Year before the last year, is teasing a new album with Big Boy of Outkast. They've previously worked together on many songs, as Killer Mike was featured on many Outkast tracks, including the famous "The Whole World," because the whole world loves it when yeah, they're on that track together. So they might be forming a new rap duo, the two of them. Also, Christian hip hop artist Fern has dropped an album, or not an album. He dropped a single today, and I'm just gonna make this note. Ren Collective dropped an album EP last week, Folk Volume 2. Um, Great. Mumford and Sons dropped an album last Friday called Rushmere. It's awesome. It's chunky with gospel references, even though there is a scathing "I've got my eye on you" gospel track towards the end. But there's a song on there called "The Truth," which is now in my top songs. Maybe like recently, my top songs have been Navigating by 21 Pilots, Oldie Station by 21 Pilots, um, or not epilogue. What's the right word? Eulogy, by Switchfoot, or not Switchfoot, by John Foreman, um, and uh, Fight of My Life by Rain Collective. This one is up there now. The Truth by Mumford and Sons. It was quite the banger and also a solid spiritual-ish anthem. So that's the news I've got for this week. Lots going on. Had GalaxyCon Raleigh last or Richmond last week. Really good response and turnout. We had about 60-ish people in the discussion panel, and we had about 80 people at the church service, and I've gotten a lot of good response just from folks and conversations and emails since then. Um, yeah. And I'm still working on responding to all of those too. Patreon supporters, I'm going to show you something neat. Not only do we have three new stickers that came out right before this show or before the last con, um, we released I think I might have shown them, but did I've done a Delicious in Dungeon sticker, a Doctor Who sticker, uh, a Dungeons and Dragons sticker, but then I gonna be sending our sticker Patreon supporters this, and this will be the first reveal of these. Um, I have a sticker sheet um that I just made. I actually made it while sitting on the show floor at GalaxyCon because I got an offer for it. But this sticker sheet actually has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven stickers on it. It has the God is a fan of you sticker in a smaller format, throw confetti, not shade. He's not safe, but he is good. The Narnia sticker, rolling with my homies. God is good. I'm a hot mess. A faith and fandom sticker. But then this is also the first thing I've ever put on a merch wise of my TikTok handle, emotional support Hobbit. So those are going to be going out, and these will be available at cons. Um, so yeah, that's going to be cool. But I've got Patreon support stuff is going out this week, hopefully today. I had to get packaging and envelopes and everything for all that stuff, so that is going. So if you are a Patreon supporter, you have not been forgotten, and your stuff is coming. So let's roll some dice and read some scripture. Um, Also, on the note of dice, I finished my first D&D campaign last night. Um, my friends and I that were playing had an 8-week campaign. It was supposed to be 6 sessions. It ended up being 8. Nobody was complaining. But yeah, we finished that up last night. So let's roll some dice and see what we're reading. To 8. No, wait. Yeah. And I'm gonna try and get my camera fixed by the next time y'all see me. 3D20s and a D10. All right, let's get a calculator out so I can do this quickly. All right. Got a 10, 12, a 9, and a 2. 33 minus 4 equals 29. So we will be in the 29th book of the Bible. So 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29. Joel, 1161. We've hit Joel recently. I might have to re-roll because I don't think there's, I think we might have covered everything in Joel. Maybe not. No, we definitely did do some Joel. So it looks like we've done Joel 3, um, and Joel 1. I guess I can just do chapter 2 since we haven't done that. All right, Joel chapter 2. And then we're officially gonna put Joel on the checked off list for this reading. You're not gonna click? Okay. It's amazing out of only doing this so many, like once a week, managed to read an entire book. The roles are that similar. But here we go. Joel chapter 2. It says, blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm on the holy hill. Let all who live in the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming. It is close at hand, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and blackness. Like dawn spreading across the mountains, a large and mighty army comes, such as never was in ancient time. Before them fire devours, behind them flame blazes. Before them the land is like a garden of Eden. Behind them a desert waste. Nothing escapes them. They have the appearance of horses. They gallop like cavalry with noise like the chariots. They leap over the mountain tops like cracking fire, consuming stubble, like a mighty armor draws for battle. At the sight of them, nations are in anguish. Every face turns pale. They charge like warriors. They scale walls like soldiers. They all march in line, not swerving from their course. They do not jostle each other. Each marches straight ahead. They plunge through the dark defenses without breaking ranks. They rush upon the city. They run along the wall. They climb over the houses. Like thieves, they enter throughout the windows. Before them the earth shakes, the heavens tremble, the sun and moon darkened, and the stars no longer shine. The Lord thunders at the head of his army, his forces beyond our number, the mighty army that obeys the command. The day of the Lord is great, it is dreadful, who can endure it? Um, it goes on this. Now, verse 12 is says rend your heart. Above 12 is rend your heart. Even now declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping and mourning. He's saying yes, the trouble is on the way, the consequences of actions, the justification is on the way, but even now, declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart. Rend your heart and not your garments. Return to the Lord, for he is gracious and compassionate. And I love that phrase. It says, rend your heart, not your garments. Because if you notice, almost every time in the Old Testament, and sometimes even in the New Testament, when something bad happens, when there's a sin, when there's a struggle or whatever, somebody like rips their shirt open, like Hulk Hogan, like, yeah, rips their shirt. That's rending your garments. God doesn't need us to put on a dramatic display. He just needs us to actually let our hearts be changed. And that's what he's saying. He says, rent your hearts, not your garments. I'm gonna do a little Hulk Hogan sketch here next to that. A little bandana, little terrible mustache, bad hairline, shirt being ripped, little fist grabbing there. Here's a little. I know you're not gonna be able to see this terrible camera, but little Hulk Hogan sketch there in the notes. All right. Rend your hearts, not your garments. Uh, as we read on, what's it say there? For he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and abounding in love. Come on. He is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and abounding in his love. And he relents from sending calamity. Means he doesn't have to follow through with the consequences of our actions. Who knows? He may turn and relent and leave behind a blessing, grain offerings and drink offerings. And said, you never can tell with God. He might just turn our punishment into blessing. Blow the trumpet in Zion, declare a holy fast, call a sacred assembly, gather the people, consecrate the assembly, bring together the elders, gather the children, those nursing at the breast. Let the bridegroom leave his room and the bride her chamber. Let the priests who minister before the Lord weep between the portico and the altar. Let them say, spare your people, Lord. Do not make your inheritance an object of scorn, a byword among the nations. Why should those who should say Who should they say among the peoples, where is their God? The Lord's answer. Then the Lord was jealous for his land and took pity on his people. The Lord replied, I am sending you grain, new wine, new olive oil, enjoy enough to satisfy you fully. Never again will I make you an object of scorn for the nations. I will drive the northern horde far from you, pushing it into parched and barren land. Uh, its eastern ranks will drown in the Dead Sea, and its western ranks will in the Mediterranean Sea. And the stench will go up; it will smell with rise. Surely he has done great things. Do not be afraid, land of Judah. Be glad and rejoice. Surely the Lord has done great things. Do not be afraid, you wild animals, for the pasture and the wilderness are becoming green. The trees are bearing their fruit, the fig tree and the vine yield their riches. Be glad, people of Zion. Rejoice in the Lord your God, for he has given you the autumn rains because he is faithful. He sends you abundant showers, both autumn springs as before. The threshing floors will be filled with grain, the vats will overflow with new wine and oil. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the great locusts and the young locust and the other locusts swarm, my great army that I sent you. You will have plenty to eat until you are full, and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who has worked wonders for you. Never again will my people be shamed. Then you will know that I am in Israel, that I am the Lord your God, and there is no other. Never again will my people be shamed. A day of the Lord. Afterward, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. Even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my spirits in those days. This is one of the passages that was cited and everything for like the Holy Spirit not just being for certain people. Verse 10 or verse 30 says, I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. For on Mount Zion and Jerusalem there will be deliverance, as the Lord has said, even among the survivors whom calls on the Lord. My verse I'm going to focus on and take away for today is the rend your heart one, verse 13. So Joel 2:13. I'm gonna write that out later, so I don't have room on my desk because it's chaos. Joel 2:13. So before I bounce, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters because literally after going through this past weekend, and trying to get ready for the cons that are coming, I know full well that it would not be possible without y'all's support. And every good conversation I got to have this past weekend is because y'all are such a blessing. So our Patreon supporters Fab Quack, Rivka and Tristan Birch, Dorothy Martin, Michelle Stewart, Lynn Turner, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer. It was good to see you this weekend, by the way. Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, the Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you all for the way you support, the way you encourage. And if you want to be a Patreon supporter, you are always welcome to. And even if you just want to say, hey, I'm praying for you, do that. Um, I just want to say thank you. Update-ish stuff. I just got a guest chapter in yesterday for the book, and after I finish up two chapters that just need to kind of be polished, book 10 might be close to done, or at least going into editing, but the goal is to have it done to be ready to be printed by the beginning of May. Um, on that note, we also should have enough content to do another bite-sized book by then. And I sent a script for a children's book to the guy who did Can I Still Wear My Cape yesterday. So we'll see. Big stuff coming. Thank you all for being supportive, for being encouraging, and I hope y'all have a great day. Bye, y'all.